Israeli occupation continues to block aid supplies into Gaza, deepening the hunger crisis of Palestinians. The United Nations warns that food insecurity in Yemen has reached unprecedented levels. Thousands of displaced families struggle with dire living conditions ahead of Eid al-Fitr across Yemen. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. This is English News with me, Shazad Delbey. The World Food Programme renewed warning that famine is closer than any time before in the northern Gaza Strip. The World Food Programme said after 6 months of fighting and conflict, everyone in Gaza Strip is facing hunger. The program stressed that famine has become closer than ever in the north and that the choice in Gaza is either increased aid entry of famine. The United Nations warned that the Israeli occupation prevention of food convoys into Gaza has a significant impact on the people. This report has more details.
Amid hurdles blocking enough humanitarian aid from reaching Gaza, and with the UN recognizing the difficulties in distributing relief amid over 6 months of continuous conflict, Gazans struggle to get their daily food needs met. Residents of Gaza are also increasingly concerned about illicit trafficking of aid. Since Israel's war on Gaza began on October 7th, residents have faced food shortages. Israel shut down commercial crossings and enforced a blockade. Entry of aid through the Rafah border crossing is also restricted, leaving trucks waiting on the Egyptian side. To ease the plight of Gazans, some countries are resorting to airlifting aid, while others are trying to use a maritime route from Cyprus to Gaza. However, some Gazans keep complaining about aid mismanagement, with reports of aid turning into commodities sold at high prices in markets. Videos shared on social media show examples of aid items being sold in markets at inflated rates. One video features a person claiming to have bought a tent from aid supplies for around roughly $800. Gaza-based activist Khalid Safi blames the Israeli occupation for soaring prices and shortages of food and aid. He asserted that the aid entering Gaza is far too little, meeting just a fraction of daily needs. Safi mentions that UNRWA and the Palestinian Red Crescent used to distribute aid based on records, but some citizens sell what they receive to buy other essentials. According to Safi, families may trade flour for cleaning supplies, clothes, or other essentials. He explained that sometimes citizens sell directly to each other or to traders who buy aid items cheaply and then sell them for higher prices in black markets. Media reports from Israel and the West have mentioned smuggling of Gaza aid and its sale on the black market. They noted a growing black market for relief items as more desperate people struggle to get food.
Dozens of people were killed and injured Monday in a series of Israeli raids in southern Gaza. Health sources in the Gaza Strip reported that at least 7 people were killed and others were injured in occupation bombing in the center of Shujai'a camp. Meanwhile, the occupation warplanes bombed the city of Rafah with a series of violent raids targeting homes, facilities, and agricultural lands. The Israeli occupation forces launched a campaign of arrests and extensive field investigations targeting at least 45 Palestinians from the West Bank. The arrests were concentrated in Hebron and the governorates of Ramallah, Tulkram, Nablus, and Jerusalem. Australia appointed a senior former military official to study Israel's inquiry into the killing of 7 aid workers last week. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said Israel is yet to provide an explanation, proper accountability, and full transparency about the circumstances for the death of the 7 aid workers, which it said its soldiers mistakenly shot them dead. The U.S. Central Command said it had destroyed a mobile surface-to-air missile system in one area controlled by the Houthi militia. The U.S. military also shot down a drone over the Red Sea, while a coalition ship detected an anti-ship missile and destroyed it. The Giants Brigade stopped an attack by the Iranian-backed terrorist Houthi militia in Ma'rib Governorate, eastern Yemen. In addition, according to the Giants Brigades, the forces responded to the Houthi attack on a Jafra area south of Ma'rib and inflicted on the rebels heavy losses in equipment and lives. Project Massam announced it cleared more than 300 mines in Yemen last week. The project's special teams destroyed 300 items of unexploded ordnance, 75 anti-tank mines, 8 improvised explosive devices, and 1 anti-personnel mine. A total of more than 400,000 mines have been cleared since the start of the project in 2018. Yemen's already dire hunger crisis is teetering on the edge of outright catastrophe, UN agency chiefs said, as new data analysis from the war-torn country indicated possibly a record of food insecurity. Today, more than 17.4 million Yemenis are food insecure, the organization added. This report has more details.
A Houthi group commander recently denied that Yemenis in militia-controlled regions lack access to enough food, prompting outrage across the country. He claimed that beggars apprehended in the capital streets belong to the General Popular Congress Party, accusing its leaders of attempts to tarnish the Houthi image. His statement sparked widespread ridicule and controversy on social media. Activists published images and records indicating that Houthi leaders made a fortune during the coup years, despite severe hunger and poverty among citizens in their occupied areas. The claims made by the Houthi commander coincided with the UN report indicating that Yemen's food insecurity had reached its highest point in more than a year. According to the World Food Programme, in February 2024, more than half of surveyed Yemeni families, or 53%, reported a lack of access to basic food, the highest percentage recorded in the past 17 months. Also, around 51% were unable to access adequate food in Houthi-controlled areas. The WFP warned that the repercussions of the current tension in the MENA region, coupled with a gap triggered by the pause in food assistance, could negatively impact food prices in Houthi-controlled regions during the coming months. Inadequate food consumption reached 57% in February 2024, as the Yemeni rial slid to an all-time low. Also, the report indicated that key drivers include low foreign currency reserves and revenue shortages due to reduced crude oil exports and remittance inflows. It added that the worsening economic situation has also led to rising food and fuel prices to unprecedented levels, leaving many households unable to access food. The WFP report also revealed that nearly 17% of surveyed households in government-controlled areas reported high food prices as a main challenge to access an adequate diet, threatening to worsen the food security situation in the coming months.
The International Organization for Migration reported the displacement of 34 families from many Yemeni governorates in the past week. The organization said the displacement cases are from Hodeidah and Taiz and settled in Ma'rib, pointing out that the total number of displaced families has risen to more than 900 families since the beginning of this year. Many displaced and war-affected families cannot afford securing aid necessities as Eid al-Fitr sets in. This report has more details.
As Eid looms near over the displaced camps of Taiz Governorate, children's faces remain devoid of any traces of joy. For them, Eid resembles a vacant echo of itself since Yemen's civil war broke out, and it serves as a bitter reminder of the lives they once led. A mother appears from behind a rundown tent, recounting with sorrow the humanitarian difficulties they have faced in the camps, including their inability to provide Eid clothing for their children. Parents stand helpless, battered by poverty and authoritarian neglect, as their children continue to yearn for a better future.
I have 6 daughters and I haven't been able to buy them new clothes for Eid. We are displaced, we have no money and can barely afford bread.
يعني والله قال عيد عندنا على الأبواب.
Eid is on the cusp of arriving, but parents haven't been able to buy anything for the children. Even bread is a luxury.
In Taiz, hundreds of displaced families in camps received the blessed Eid al-Fitr for the 10th year in a row in difficult humanitarian conditions, unable to provide the customary requirements for the holiday due to skyrocketing market prices.
Coming next in the news. The Saleh Foundation concludes delivery of Ramadan cash assistance in liberated areas in Hodeidah.
رمضان مبارك.
Welcome back. A Saleh Foundation concluded delivery of Ramadan cash assistance to displaced and war-affected families in liberated areas in Hodeidah. This report has more details.
Humanitarian efforts are being made to help the most vulnerable groups of the society. The Saleh Social Foundation continues its charity work in different governorates in Yemen. The Saleh Foundation team travels long distances in order to deliver aid to those who deserve it. And now it concludes the cash assistance project in Al Hodeidah Governorate.
The Saleh Foundation continues to distribute Ramadan cash assistance. Today, we are here in Hodeidah. We distributed the aid to 2,000 individuals in different villages in Hais and Al Khawkha. The foundation has been providing Ramadan cash assistance for 3 years now. We aim every year to double the number of beneficiaries.
Families like these who are sleeping in the open and on the streets are considered a main target for those who should benefit from what the Saleh Foundation has to offer. A purely humanitarian project that targeted families living in remote villages in Al Khawkha, Hais and Al Tuhaita districts south of Hodeidah.
We thank the Saleh Foundation for supporting us with cash assistance before Eid al-Fitr. We are suffering a lot here in this village and we are unable to get our basic needs. Our situation is really miserable. The Saleh Foundation came today to this rural village. They distributed cash assistance among the poor, the displaced and the visually impaired and orphans. They supported all those in need.
Such support is a source of hope and motivation for families to face the challenges they face daily. This initiative was well received by the beneficiaries, who expressed their thanks to the Saleh Foundation for its support to them in these difficult circumstances.
At least 14 people were killed and others were injured as a result of a traffic accident in Al Jawf. In addition, a local source said a traffic accident happened between a military crew and a car loaded with people, resulting in the burning of both vehicles and the death of 14 people and injury of others.
Cholera is a bacterial disease that spreads when there is a lack of safe drinking water. It causes acute diarrhea with severe dehydration and can be highly infectious. It can kill within hours. However, it is easily preventable and treatable. MSF teams are doing whatever they can to respond, treating thousands of patients and providing clean drinking water in 10 countries. But with so many outbreaks ongoing, needs are huge on a global scale. Ultimately, no one should die of a preventable disease such as cholera. We must work together to curb these outbreaks.
The Yemeni Minister of Health invited the WHO Regional Director to visit Yemen to oversee the emergency health situation caused by the spread of cholera. The minister pointed out that the increasing cases of cholera in a number of regions require the organization's intervention, especially in light of the exhausted health system that faces many challenges as a result of the continuing war and conflict. Local authorities in Taiz reported that dozens of confirmed cases of cholera were recorded in the city in the recent days. The Health and Population Office in Taiz said the registered cases of suspected cholera that arrived in the hospitals were 188 cases, and 100 cases were confirmed to be infected with cholera, the sources added. The World Health Organization confirmed that more than 13 million children and women in Yemen are in urgent need of health services during the current year. The regional office of the Eastern Mediterranean at the World Health Organization said the conflict in Yemen has left half of the population in need of health assistance, and about 75% of whom are children and women. Power cut hours increased in Aden with the start of summer. Local sources reported that the outage period exceeded 5 hours. The sources reported instability of electricity service, which has in turn exposed people's electronic devices to malfunctions. Here's a reminder of the main headlines. Israeli occupation continues to block aid supplies into Gaza, deepening the hunger crisis of Palestinians. The United Nations warns that food insecurity in Yemen has reached unprecedented level. Thousands of displaced families struggle with dire living conditions ahead of Eid al-Fitr across Yemen. This is the end of the news. Thank you for watching.